very bottom of the page. We'll start the end of the third line from the bottom. And we're going to be learning something that was mentioned before briefly, but now we have to get into it. And I'd like we should kind of relate to this. 3 lines from the bottom at the end. V'chol zeh, all of this refers to the principle that Rebbe explained about ratzon, the phenomenal effect of ratzon. That ratzon can create, ratzon actually is instrumental in creating the koiches, and ratzon is also capable of completely negating the presence of the koiches altogether.
Koiches or the midas? Both?
Both. Okay. Koiches. Because ratzon is a supreme reign, so to speak. Having discussed this in some detail, to the point where ratzon can bring a person to the ability to do mesiras nefesh, which in world life, so to speak, doesn't make any sense. How do you do mesiras nefesh? So at the end of the third line on the bottom, the calls all of this is who it is. It is truly fi, because due to the fact from his galas orotzon, let's listen carefully to this, because the manner that orotzon expresses itself or shows itself, who it's a very unique type of his galas of expression, of showing itself. And what's unique about it is sha'atzmusei mizgala, that in ratzon, what comes forth and what becomes obvious is not a certain message, a certain what's called a ha'ora. What he likes, but he doesn't like, and so forth, a ha'ora, but it is atzmusei mizgala, the very essence of the ratzon in the way it is in nefesh. This is what comes forth in his galus on a functional level. In other words, when ratzon is mizgala, it says, I want, please follow this. It does not mean I should want, but I do want. The real want in the way it is in nefesh, this is what comes on the functional level. Not to say that deep down I want it, and therefore I should want it on the surface of. No. It comes right into the surface level. This is why ratzon has such a phenomenal power. It's a nefesh power. It actually activates a person. As we said, gets him out of bed, gets him to walk, gets him to run, gets him to do whatever it is. And that is the power behind all of those activities. Because atzmusei mizgala, the very essence of that koyach, of that nefesh aspect of ratzon, this is what comes on the gilui, on the functional, on the revealed level. I'd like to be sure appreciate these couple of words, and I'll point out a very simple human experience that we have constantly. That even when a person is totally immobile, the person is not moving at all. Not because he can't move. I'm not talking about immobile for some kind of. He's just sitting put, and he's involved deep down into himself. Observing this person, we can readily see that there is something going on active in this person, even though he doesn't manifest it at all. and that this person, let me just illustrate this. To stand up, we know we need a little effort. Sometimes we get tired, but to sit, we realize that sitting up straight requires a certain stance, a life force. Sitting up is not due to the contours of the body. And yet, sitting up does not tire us at all. Because this is a deeper koyach haratzon. It's a neshama koyach. It's not a functional aspect, which comes right out in its full power, the way it is in the neshama itself. The neshama wants to be, and that wanting to be comes right into the body. Because that in ratzon, this is what Rebbe said, because that in ratzon, it is the very essence of that koyach, of that ratzon, that comes with his galus, that it manifests itself. Not just a ha'or. We spoke about ha'or many times. I'm alluding to it, and not going into it, but we discussed it many times. It is not just the result of the ratzon, but the actual ratzon itself. Al kain, okay, the second line from the bottom, the middle line. Al kain, because of this, hu poyel b'derech shlita, because of the ratzon, when the ratzon is misgala, it is the very essence of the ratzon. Therefore, he affects the effect of that ratzon upon all other aspects of the person. Is b'derech shlita, is in a shlita manner, is in a ruling manner. B'bchinas teikev ha'koyach shabai. B'bchinas teich, in this aspect, b'bchinas means in the aspect of the teikev ha'koyach. The ratzon does not only say I want. The ratzon, when he said I want it insistently. Toikev means the insisting aspect. This is what I want, nothing, and I want it. Finish. I'm not justifying it. I'm not explaining what I want. This is toikev. Toikev means the stand of a human power. This toikev is a manifestation of the presence of ratzon, and the Rebbe says it is not a manifestation of the ramifications of the ratzon. It is a manifestation of the presence of ratzon itself. Thank you very much. This is a phenomenal thing. Ratzon is a koyach hanefesh. And it varies. I want and I don't want. Sometimes I'm asleep, sometimes I'm running and walking. It's a koyach. It's a koyach that manifests itself on a functional level. And when it does, it manifests its entire presence the way it is in the nefesh. Not its ramifications, not its inference, but the very presence of that koyach itself. Because of this phenomenon, that is the very presence of the koyach itself that manifests itself. So the Rebbe said, because of this, there is the full presence of this koyach, and it comes with a toikev. It comes with a stance. You can't ignore it.
To remain on this call, press 1.
You can ignore an inference, but you can't ignore an actual presence. The ratzon comes with its actual presence the way it is in the nefesh itself. This is why the ratzon just takes over. It rules everything that's happening in the person. All the koiches, the presence in the koiches and the absence in it. That's what I said. Hein, either, both. He samos ha koiches legamri. He has in its power to totally alleviate the koiches, conceal them completely, put them off completely back into their source above. Vehein, and likewise also, his galos hakoiches, the ratzon brings forth his galos hakoiches as an effect of revealing the koiches by his galos iseiro. By his galos iseiro means with an excessive level of his galos of expression of the revelation of the koiches, not just the ramifications of the koiches of the koich, but the actual presence of the koich. Ratzon brings out in the koyach an aspect that you wouldn't even imagine exists. The koyach, the way it is in the netzam nefesh. And the Rebbe says, for example, ukmoi b'mesiras nefesh. Kmoi b'mesiras nefesh, as it becomes obvious in the situation of mesiras nefesh. Mesiras nefesh cannot be explained, cannot be made sense of. Mesiras nefesh is an essential decision on the part of the neshama itself. Mesiras nefesh is a statement that I am with Hashem not because I appreciate Him, not because I have commitment. This is what I am. It's the essential connection itself. It's the reality itself. The way it comes from Him into me, this is the way Mesiras Nefesh expresses itself.
Can I ask something?
Yes, 1 second. So the Mesiras Nefesh, Mesiras Nefesh clearly states this person is completely oblivious to his whole mitzias and worldly mitzias. He is willing, not only willing, he cannot but completely ignore his worldly presence. And he goes into a different reality. Is this something that he convinces himself, he forces himself, or is he there? He has that reality in him on the manifest level. All of a sudden he sees the whole world and his whole reality on a different level. He is not a godly creation, but he is part of God. This is Mesiras Nefesh. And that is possible due to the toikev, the stance, the powerful sense of ratzon, because the ratzon that manifests in a person, ratzon comes in its full glory. There's no transitional loss from the inside, the way it is in essence, and the way it manifests itself. There is no transitional loss. It is exactly the way it is in the essence. It's the way it manifests on the outside. The full power of the ratzon. I said, in ratzon, there is not, this is the way it should be. In ratzon is always, this is the way it is. In seichel, there is the inyan, this is the way it should be. Ratzon speaks for itself. V'chein, and likewise, just as a Mesiras Nefesh When Mesiras Nefesh, you are actually relating to the reality of the Nefesh itself, not to its functional level. V'chein b'derech klal. Okay, we turn the page. V'chein b'derech klal. And similarly, b'derech klal, on a more general level, b'izgal was ha-koiches al-yedei haratzon, that when the koiches are mizgala, that comes forth al-yedei haratzon, that the koiches, when the ratzon is what pushes the koiches out, then the koiches come with tremendous power. Sheyochel li yesh b'li gvul. Sheyochel li yesh b'li gvul. That it's possible that the koiches should come forth because the ratzon brings him forth. Yochel li yesh b'li gvul. It is possible that the koich should be totally unabridged, limitless. The full power of this koich is what ratzon brings out, if the ratzon is involved. And the Rebbe explains a very interesting thing. Ukemoyas, for example, the Makim Sheli B'Chofetz. The Gemara says, Leilim Yimod Olam, a person should learn the Makim Sheli B'Chofetz, in the place where his heart desires. Makim Sheli B'Chofetz has two ramifications, two meanings. Makim means in the place, physical place, which yeshiva doesn't want to learn, and so forth. And Makim Sheli B'Chofetz means, what does he want to learn? This Gemara or that Gemara, this Maimer or that Maimer. All of that has significance of how he is going to learn. Makim Sheli B'Chofetz, what's the difference? He's going to learn with his seichel. But Makim Sheli B'Chofetz brings the ratzon into focus, into this inyan. And therefore it brings out the koyach in a totally different manner. B'li gvul. He's totally there, and the koyach functions completely with its full power. Not as, if it's not Makim Sheli B'Chofetz, then it is only the functional aspect, the ha'ara of the koyach. But ratzon brings out the full impact of the koyach. Makim Sheli B'Chofetz.
Can I ask something?
Yes, now you can ask.
Mesiras Nefesh comes from roots and
Wait a second. How am I supposed to hear this?
It says, Mesiras Nefesh comes from ratzon.
and
Okay.
we always know that Mesiras Nefesh comes from Amunah.
So, but what functionally, actually, in an active manner, how does it happen? Because of Emunah, I want to do this. You can't. Emunah doesn't make you act. Emunah is a passive koyach. Ratzon makes you act, makes you go and do things.
Okay, and was said that the ratzon is the Eitzem HaKoyach which comes out, and how is it in Chochmah? It's not the Eitzem HaKoyach.
Chochmah is not. Chochmah is only the ha'ara of koyach. Every koyach, even Chochmah is only the ha'ara of the koyach. What makes what you see real? It is that the Chochmah tells you, hey, the Rebbe is showing it to you. It's being shown to you. You don't know the exact reality itself. Chochmah is the highest of the kochos hagluyim, or the kochos hapnimim. Nonetheless, it does not compare to ratzon. Ratzon is actually a piece of life itself. Chochmah is an aura of life. Okay, should we continue? Yes.
Yeah, but it's a ha'ura of Chochmah, but it's a ha'ura of the Nefesh. What do we say?
It's a ha'ara of the nefesh.
But it's the Eitzema Chochma. It's not that
It's not. It's a Harav Chochma too. The Chochma is the way it is in the Nefesh, and then consciously you know what the Chochma is telling you. Yeah.
With ratzon having such an overwhelming power, so this is to say that the nefesh elokis and its ratzon completely negates all the behema ratzonius.
Right.
Like you'd say in English, the death wish or will to power or all these other, the pleasure principle, all these other so-called inyanim are sort of overwhelmed by what we're calling here a real ratzon of a human nature, of a godly nature, basically.
Okay, we're first getting into this, and the ramifications will be discussed as we go. But this is a phenomenal statement that allows us to really to delve into, to try to understand what the Rebbe is saying, that ratzon, the gilui of ratzon is not a ha'ora, a functional aspect, an effect of ratzon, but the actual ratzon itself. I said many times, you build a table. You build a table according to the idea of what a table should look like, the way that it was formed in your mind. The real design of the table is what's called the human aspect that accommodates the human functional presence in the world. It's designed in not in its form, but in terms of its function, is designed inside the mind. And then this function is then translated on the conscious level. How do you translate this function in the physical world? How do you make that there should be a board in front of you that should hold you safer and should hold you cup? And you start placing that functional design idea into the physical world. And say, in the physical world, in order that the board should stand, you have to have legs holding it up. This is when it comes, designed from the worldly perspective. So therefore, the design that we have from the worldly perspective is an actualization of something else. When you build a table, not really building a table, you're building a certain form that the world accommodates. In your mind, it's a table. And this is why, since you're not building a table, in order for the table to be quote-unquote perfect, it's almost impossible to be perfect. Because you're taking a perfect concept of the neshama and trying to place it in an imperfect world. Why is it imperfect? Because when you have legs attached to a board, it cannot be perfect. They're two separate entities. No matter how well you join them, cannot be perfect. Perfect is when it's one entity, one unit. There's no such thing in the world as a table. So I said, project the possibility, not the possibility of the, so to speak, the fantastic imagination. If the table were to come out straight from your thought, the way you think, the way you perceive a table, that creates a table, in actual fact. It would be a perfect table. There would not be any seams, any connections or anything. It would be just the exact design of what a table is. That would be a perfect table. Invulnerable. This is how ratzon comes out. Seichel does not come this way. Seichel talks to you about the table and the design of the table, how do you bring it down to an actual presence in the world?
Again, what? This is how ratzon comes out? One piece,
Yeah.
one cloth.
What? And ratzon comes
One.
out exactly the way it is in its origin.
It's interesting that can actually work or be effective in a worldly
That's right.
setting.
That's right. It doesn't work within a worldly setting. It makes it be the way it is, the way it wants it to be.
So it's like from above. It's not a sequence. It's not constructed. Okay.
In other words, a person functions in the world with his ratzon. Not according to his ratzon, but with his ratzon. With the power of the ratzon itself.
Which is to say that it's driving everything, but it's not expressing itself.
What do you mean?
It's the force behind everything, but it doesn't.
It's not behind,
express.
in it, in everything. It makes the hand move.
It makes you build a table.
It makes the hand move.
Yes. But it doesn't force the table to come out from
No,
nowhere.
because
It
the table is a
allows you-
seichel concept.
Yeah, so is that to say ratzon runs itself through seichel?
Ratzon gives vent to all the koiches, including the seichel. Like a mokin shli b'chofetz. A person learns by mokin shli b'chofetz, then his koich ha-seichel functions totally differently. V'zehu gam kin hatam. This too explains from the fact mashaklolus tnuas ho'ivorim. The fact that klolus tnuas ho'ivorim, the movement of the limbs of the body, the general movement of limbs of the body. Whether moving the hand, moving the foot, or whatever it is. Tnuas ho'ivorim. Who? Alidei haratzon davko. It is affected, brought out, and the haratzon davko. Davko means exclusively. Insistently. We have a little 50 there, but the 50 is pages back. Let's see what that alludes to. Okay. Tnuas ho'ivorim is al haratzon davka. Davka means only. Mipnei ma. The question is, why is it? Ein hatnuas ho'ivorim tzad atzmam. Why does not the movement of the ho'ivorim come out mitzad atzmam because of themselves? The ho'iver moves on its own. Hainu, which would mean me'achayas amubis b'hem. From the chayas that is malubas, the chayas is a life force that is actually contained in the Ever itself. The Ever is a living anti-Ever. Sheyesh b'hem ha'adba'al litnuah. This chayas, the life force that's in the hand, has the nature, has imbued, but naturally, the union of movement. Movement is not something which is an anomaly for the hand. The hand moves naturally.